Jacksonville. Now, Lauren Brooks, Taylor Dahl, and Tom McManus. This is
Helmets and Heels.
Helmets and Heels on 1010XL.
So I haven't been jealous at all of Matt Hayes and Frank Frangie being up at SEC Media Days until today when Billy Napier and mainly DJ Lagway and the other two players, Caleb Banks and Jake Slaughter, met with media. I want to be around the aura that is DJ Lagway today. And I'm down here in Jacksonville, FLA, close obviously to the campus of the University of Florida, but they are right next to Lagway.
Yeah, I think I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous of hanging out with DJ Lagway personally, but I do think that being in that, getting the vibes of the players and coaches that are around, you can feel that when you're there, and it is different. Like, we can hear them all we want over a presser, and you can see that all the time where sometimes in pressers from on TV or audio only, it's harder to get the gist of what exactly they're feeling and saying. And so obviously being there takes that to a whole nother level. And I know Frank's probably ecstatic to be able to talk to all of them because yesterday, the amount of times where he's like, I'm probably a bit of a Florida homer. I'm like, we know. We know.
Hey, listen, it's an exciting time. You know, it's a brand new season. I mean, look, I've been around the game for a long time. I'd get a little giddy when Florida comes in, LSU comes in, Georgia comes in, you know, teams like that. And you're like, wow, and then you see the players, and then you see the coaches that have been around that are really popular. You know, it's a great time. I remember going to the Big East Media Day, and I had to fly with Coach Coughlin the first year he was at BC, and I was scared to death. I don't even think I talked to him the whole flight. I was kind of staring off into space. And it was at the Meadowlands in New Jersey, you know, in their presser or whatever. And then we flew home. It was just the weirdest thing. I didn't really know what it was at the time. So I wasn't that excited. I was just like, I got to go with Coach. You guys are lucky. You don't have to. But, that's cool.
It is fun. I'm going to show Tom a picture. So that's Billy Napier on the left, and then Caleb Banks, and then DJ Lagway, and then Jake Slaughter. So a defensive lineman, and then the quarterback, and then an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Does that look like there's that much of a difference between the offensive lineman, the defensive lineman, and the quarterback size-wise?
Lagway looks big, man. He's a pretty big guy. He's
6'3", I think.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a good, because they got to be 6'4", 6'5", if not taller. So he's not too far off there. Yeah, and he's put on some. He looks like he's a little jacked up, which is nice.
Yeah, 6'4", certainly with cleats, 6'3", 6'4", what have you.
Right.
And he's worked hard this offseason. Certainly, we've talked about the different injuries that he's been through, a little bit of a shoulder and then the hernia. But at this point in time, he seems healthy from all the reports that, you know, of course, they're asking Lagway, they're asking Napier about that. And it seems like he's just fine. But yeah, I did have a little bit of envy in my body today when I was like, dang, it is Florida Day at SEC Media Day.
I tell you, as an outsider kind of, that I've always felt like it's good for college football when Florida State, and Miami are good. You know what I mean? I even from afar, I was just like, you know, that's when they're good. It seems like college football is really, really strong. Yeah. So I know Florida's on their way.
The South loves their football.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and well, the North does too, but it's different. It's just different, and a lot of teams they're just better down here.
The state of Florida produces such good high school football recruits. Yeah. And there are other states, too. Texas certainly is a hotbed. Louisiana is. Ohio, California, certainly.
No doubt.
There are other states. But it does feel like Florida has enough to, if we were able to keep them all in state, then these teams would be really successful. The problem is, of course, recruiting is national these days.
Yeah, and the money is involved these days, which definitely draws some people. But I think that is something that you want to be able to take advantage of, and it's something that we've seen Billy Napier start to be able to when it comes to the recruiting trail in Florida. And I do think that's important because we've gone through the numbers of the amount of high school players that are not only in college football, but the amount of college players that are in the NFL right now. It's the highest number. Even it's above Texas in that. In the last number that I saw when it comes to players that played high school in Florida and then are playing currently in the NFL on active rosters. And so you have to take advantage of that because that's a lot of guys that are at high-end talent that you have in your backyard. And I do think Billy's done a good job, especially this last couple years of kind of focusing on that. Maybe it helps a little bit that Florida State had this the last season they did. You can draw some attention from that, but they're competing with Miami full on, and he's still able to do it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, look, you go to one of those schools, you get a shot at going pro. You got a shot at playing some of the best football. I mean, look, FSU had a terrible year last year. We'll see what happens as they move forward. Florida's on their way back, it looks like. Miami's interesting, too. So that's all good for college football in my book. And, look, I mean, how do you have to sell Florida? Like, other than money, take the money aside. Florida, what, are they better facilities than Florida State? Because remember, like 5 years ago before the money, it was all about facilities.
Yeah,
Who's
correct.
got the best facilities?
That was the sell, yeah.
Right? And now, well, that's still got to be part of it. And then you throw in the money. And then what else? It's got to be playing time. Am I going to start early?
Yeah.
Am I going to be the guy early? A lot of factors go into it. I think, like Frank said yesterday, what they get frustrated with these coaches is like, well, if they don't get that, then they're just going to leave and go somewhere else. And that's got to be a headache. I did see the numbers of the rankings of spending. I'm sure you guys saw that. Mm-hmm. Texas Tech at $27 million.
So they have a specific billionaire who has been pouring money into that program.
It's unbelievable, that amount of money.
And they did it with softball. We talked about it through the softball national championship. Yeah. They paid Canardi, I think was her name, the pitcher, and gave her not just $1 million contract, turned around and gave her another one to stick around. And so not that going pro in softball is going to make you a ton of money by any means. But they've figured out that you can, if you want to spend like in Texas A&M, who for a long time has been spending a lot of money, then you can certainly be competitive. Look, with the Florida roster, I'm confident in quarterback as long as DJ Lagway stays healthy. I will say when we went down to the spring game, we did get to see the other quarterbacks throw. Outside of maybe Harrison Bailey, the guy this is now his fourth school, I'm not sure that they have much as far as behind DJ. So if DJ Lagway doesn't stay healthy, I'm very concerned. Whereas a year ago, you had Graham Mertz as the starter, DJ Lagway as the backup, and certainly Lagway emerged. I'm confident in the offensive line, confident in the receivers, confident in the running backs, confident in the tight ends. The defense, certainly defensive line returns guys. The linebackers, there's guys there that, like Pub Howard has been there. Miles Graham is a little bit newer. The secondary has a few pieces that have returned, but they also have a little bit of newness there in youth. But the biggest question, of course, is can they face adversity when it comes to the schedule? Mm-hmm. And can they face adversity when it comes to the head coach and the play calling and those decisions that he makes on Saturdays?
Yeah, because I don't think it's a unique situation that if your starting quarterback goes out, there's concern. I think the majority of college football is like that, especially now. I do think that in the past, maybe you saw a little bit more of the circumstances where guys were sitting more often and waiting for their chance. You're not seeing that as much. So most teams now around college football, if you lose your starting quarterback, there's a drop off to that next guy. You don't have that next guy just sitting there waiting. There are the ones that are able to do it, but I think Alabama has been able to kind of keep pumping out these guys that they feel comfortable with throwing somebody else out there. But what level is that actually on? Because I don't know how many people thought Jalen Milroe was an absolutely fantastic quarterback last year. So I do think to that. And I heard Primetime talking about the record with Billy last year when DJ wasn't starting. It's a losing record. And so, that you're looking at that. You want DJ Lagway. He's a game changer. And so when you have that type of player out there, you want him there. But I don't know how much different it is around around college football that most people are probably also worried about that.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, you think you'd hope to have a young kid. Like if your starter goes down, maybe it's the first year recruit that you're just bringing in.
Yeah.
You got to live and die by the sword
and then
with
you're
that
seeing
sometimes.
what you have.
Yeah, right, exactly. But then you got to figure him out too. Like, is he going to stay? Am I going to be able to keep him to stay? Is he going to take over? What's the deal? And I think that's where all this stuff comes in. It gets interesting, but also a little frustrating too. It's got to.
I think the only time that you're talking about really good depth in quarterback rooms across college football is when you actually haven't named a starter.
Yeah.
So then you're actually more concerned about QB1.
Yeah.
But you're more confident because there were
There's
or
a
three
battle
guys
happening,
absolutely that are trying to win that job. I heard them talking about this yesterday as far as Gunnar Stockton. Kirby Smart has not said that Gunnar Stockton is the starting quarterback. He is in a quarterback battle still at this point in time. But you're not going to bring Gunnar Stockton to SEC Media Days unless I think you have faith that he's going to start the season as the guy under center. But Ryan Puglisi, who is the QB2 there, is technically still fighting it out. So that is when I'm a Georgia fan, I'd be like, well, is this a good thing or a bad thing if he's not going to outright say that Stockton's the starter?
Yeah, and I think that brings a little concern because you're saying, okay, are they not seeing enough out of Gunnar? And then there might be an issue because I think that last year Gunnar had this he has a little bit more experience now, and I heard them talking yesterday about Arch Manning and his starting, his first year starting in Texas, and they get to start with Ohio State, and then Georgia has it a little. They get to ease in a little bit. They have a couple easy games to start their schedule, but I don't know if that's really what you want, because I feel like if you're already questioning if Gunner's the guy, and then you have an easy couple games, you're still not really seeing if Gunner's the guy until week 3. And then what do? You just switch the quarterback at that point if you feel like you're not getting enough. So I think Georgia, and to your point, Lauren, I agree on the fact that I feel like maybe it just hasn't been vocalized yet, because college football keeps a lot of secrets. They don't like to tell us many things at all when it comes to injuries or whatever is going on. They like to gatekeep a lot of things. And so I feel like you wouldn't bring him and put him in that limelight if you didn't feel like he was your guy week 1.
Yeah, I think with Gunn, not naming him yet, maybe he's waiting for him to take it, and maybe the other kid's close enough. I wonder how the money is close, between backups and starters. Is it a big gap?
I would imagine
like a massive gap, right? So look, if the money was a little bit closer, maybe you don't care so much about playing, early on as a QB, but at the end of the day, these kids want to play. Yeah. So I don't know. I do think coaches want to name their quarterbacks as early as possible, just to say, hey, this is our guy. You don't have to look over your shoulder. You're our man. Everyone around you knows it. When we start practice, you're taking ones. They want that. It just brings more continuity quicker. At the same time, you get a little battle going there, and hey, maybe it is Gunner. Maybe the other kid's like, no, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it right in front of everybody. So be interesting.
The point about the schedule, and both Frank and Matt at SEC Media Days, and certainly Primetime has been talking about this. Georgia starts with Marshall and then Austin Peay before you play Tennessee. If you like what you see out of Gunnar Stockton, certainly you're going to start him against Austin Peay. If you don't like what you see against Marshall with Gunnar Stockton, you could then put in Brian Puglisi. And again, I'm not saying this is what Kirby Smart's thinking or this is going to happen.
And then you get to Tennessee and you're like, okay, now who's actually good?
And again,
and you flip-flop them again, and then you're totally screwed.
Yeah, play them each a half the way Spurrier used to platoon quarterbacks. It worked once upon a time. Yeah. But Texas, meanwhile, starts with Ohio State. So
they don't know their quarterback right now.
Ohio State. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I think it'll be Julian Sayin.
Yeah, me too.
But just like I think Alabama's will be Ty Simpson. Yeah. But when you don't have that clear path, it does leave a little bit of question marks. And what do we know? The devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. College football fans, it's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
They want that backup quarterback. If their starting quarterback isn't playing well, they want that backup quarterback in the worst way. They don't realize that quarterback hasn't taken snaps with the ones and doesn't have the chemistry, or at least as many as the starting quarterback doesn't have the chemistry with all the starting receivers and things like that. But they don't care about that.
Yeah, not at all. And it is interesting. It just made me think of one of the clips that Kalen DeBoer said. One of the questions I was asked earlier was about the quarterback situation, and his answer was, if we played a game today, Ty Simpson would be starting. So it is interesting that Kirby is not saying something. Like, he's not saying at this moment in time, Gunner, it's his job to lose. So it does feel like it's kind of open there, a little more open than at least it feels like at Ohio State.
I tell you, man, you gotta be careful with switching too early, I think. And then what if you have to go back? You know what I mean? BC might have went back to Castellanos, but he took off, So, no, I'm just saying, you don't want to get into that kind of thing.
Yeah,
so if you pick a guy, now granted, if you pick Gunner in the first, you win, but he's just not playing good, at all, for whatever reason, maybe you think about it, but you better be dedicated to moving it to that next guy and then really giving him the chance. All right, you don't have to look over your shoulder, even though deep down you do, because if you screw it up, we're going to try to find somebody else too. So I just think you got to be careful with that message of, okay, am I going to stick? And then how long? And we all know you lose in the SEC the big game. It's fire coming at you from the families. Yeah, the leash is very short.
But now with a 12-team playoff, you can lose more football games than ever before still make the postseason, even if you don't win the SEC championship. So going from 4 to 12 does help in that regard. But I've always been an advocate of the quarterback competition. Let it be a battle, because I think that gets the best of both players, and you're going to be under pressure all season long. So you may as well have it out in practice. But the more I go to Jaguars practices, and I've been covering this team since 2012, the more I understand the quarterback relationship with the receivers. Yes, that's critical in tight ends and running backs, but also the offensive line, especially the center.
Yeah.
So you really would like to have it all be cohesive and have a designed or designated quarterback to be your starter, and then have the backup who's been working with the twos. But we'll see what happens with Georgia football. Again, I know for a fact DJ Lagway is going to be the starting quarterback for Florida. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Gunnar Stockton for Georgia, because he did bring him. He could have chosen not to bring a quarterback like we've seen other teams do, like Tennessee did, because their quarterback situation
maybe
was
that was a test.
Flux.
Let's see how Gunnar handles this.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And I think he handled it well from listening to the interviews.
Yeah, and listen, just as far as backups coming in, I always felt like, when you do that, you're like, this is going to Sandlot football. Like, they don't know anything about him, and he's just going to figure it out, and you're going to run the offense, that he can run, and hopefully catch him by surprise and help you win the ball game. So
we saw that with Gardner Minshew against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
When Nick Foles went down after throwing that one great pass and touchdown pass, then Gardner Minshew went in. The Jaguars didn't beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But Minshew had barely any incompletions, played great, because, the Chiefs didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
All right, Dad, speaking of Jaguars football, let's get it to Jaguars football. On the other side, you are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Hey, what's happening? This is Hall of Famer Brian Dawkins.
Intercepted. Brian Dawkins, the greatest free safety in the game.
You are listening to 1010XL.
When the unexpected happens, you shouldn't have to face it alone. I'm Chris Campione, and at Campione Law, we're here to fight for you. Whether it's an auto accident or a slip and fall, our Jacksonville team takes care of every detail, from investigating the incident to securing multi-million-dollar verdicts, so you can focus on getting better. And remember, you don't pay a dime unless we win your case. Our commitment is 24/7, bringing you the real support from real people who really care. Campione Law, your dedicated partners in justice. Visit CampioneLaw.com.
Count on Campion Law.
Our son Eric's a Division I collegiate baseball pitcher who is having shoulder pain. We took him to Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and are confident that he's now on the road to recovery. This is Beth Anderson, and we love the care Eric receives at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Sports fans, this is David Garrard here. And if you're suffering from orthopedic soreness, make an appointment at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where everyone is treated like a pro.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Helmets and Heels.
With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
Hey, it's Frank Frangie. Look, when it comes to glass needs around the home, there's one name I trust, Lee and Kate's. It's local, family-owned, and they've been part of our community since 1926. They've taken great care of me over the years, and I know they'll do the same for you. Visit leeandkatesglass.com.
With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
You dream it, we build it. CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. Gather the family when it's time to retire. Enjoy the warmth of the cozy fire. Now we're cooking in the great outdoors. That's what outdoor kitchens are for. You dream it, we build it. CSS.
Get more Gators on the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists with new episodes every Friday. Subscribe and listen by searching for 1010XL's Gator Bites podcast wherever you find podcasts and at 1010XL.com.
Right now, you may be running a little late or feeling stressed or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Your home is more than walls and a roof. It's where you breathe, drink, and power through life. At Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to keep it all running smoothly. From clean, cool air to clean water, reliable power to expert plumbing, we do it all. For over 35 years, families have trusted Donovan to make their homes healthier, safer, and more comfortable. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing today, 904-270-COOL, where health meets home.
The best game day parking in all of Duvall is at Tailgaters Parking. Are you ready for some football? Tailgaters is just steps away on the east side of the stadium. Visit tailgatorsparking.com and secure your season parking pass today.
The countdown is on. Save the date because Diamonds Direct's Designer Summer Sale kicks off this Monday, July 21st with 20% off the entire store. Engagement rings, diamond studs, fashion jewelry, and more. Want early access? Book your appointment now because the best pieces go fast. Don't miss the jewelry event of the season next week only at Diamonds Direct and designer appearances July 25th through 27th. Top designers from New York and LA with their exclusive collections. Visit diamondsdirect.com to book your appointment and start saving.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
If a storm impacts our area, JEA is ready to respond. Our team of over 2,000 employees is prepared to move in when the storm moves on. Once restoration efforts begin, we won't stop until everyone is back online. And we'll keep you informed with real-time updates at JEA.com and the MyJEA app. We're ready for storm season and want you to be too. Visit JEA.com/storm to learn what you can do now to prepare.
Hacker here, and guess what my scale reads? 195 pounds. I'm shocked seeing that number, but it's there every month. The weight is staying off after dropping 122 pounds. Absolutely life-changing. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Frank Franzi here for Coil Fencing. Jacksonville's full of memorable sports moments. Remember Tiger Woods' 60-foot putt on the iconic 17th? Gary Coate called it better than most. Better than most. Well, Coil Fencing is better than most. They're better than all. Coil has been that for nearly 100 years. So if you're in the market for a new fence, I recommend calling Coyle & Sons today. That's at 904-356-4821 or visit coiljacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Can I wish you guys a National Hot Dog Day?
Oh, yes. Happy National Glizzy Day to you.
Thank you to all who celebrate.
Have you had a hot dog yet today?
Not yet, because I honestly, which I can't believe I didn't know this, but I didn't know until probably about 1:30 that it was. So I definitely will for dinner then. Yeah. I'm a big hot dog girl.
Yeah.
Tommy, yeah.
Like at the ballpark or like just anywhere?
Anytime.
Really?
I love hot dogs.
Yeah, will you cook tonight's hot dog at home?
Yeah. I have like a George Foreman thing that I'll like grill them on there a lot. And that's my favorite way to do it. Grilled hot dogs are my favorite.
Yeah, George Foreman grill's awesome.
Yeah.
I used to have one of those. Chicken was incredible.
I know,
on that
they're
thing.
fantastic.
Yeah,
it's
just
so
lower
easy.
the lid and forget about it.
Yeah, let it go.
Man.
I ate a lot of hot dogs growing up that my mom would do, like for quick dinners, like the boxed mac and cheese, the Kraft mac and cheese.
Yeah.
With hot dog in it?
Boiled hot dog.
Oh, yeah.
And then,
I still do that sometimes.
Your cuisine's so good. That's elevated so
I
much.
would think of that one. I would have been all over that for sure.
Now my parents are really good cooks, so the meals have certainly
I can do
better.
both. I can do the fancy, but I can also sometimes I just want some good old Kraft mac and cheese and a hot dog.
Yeah. I had a great dog at the at Wrigley.
Did you?
But I normally don't eat
a regular
that
one,
stuff.
or did you do a Chicago dog?
Chicago dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
Ugh, delicious.
Yeah, it was good stuff. But normally I don't eat that. I'm not a hot dog eater per se.
I'm much more of a brat or a sausage.
Yeah, sausage.
Sausage and peppers and
Give me all the good stuff.
More meat.
Tom, I learned what glizzy meant probably like a year ago. I had no idea that glizzy meant hot dog.
Did you know that term?
I didn't know the glizzy meant hot dog.
okay.
Is that a Chicago term?
No,
Oh,
it's
just
we
slang
went over
out there
this
somewhere
because
in the
when
verse?
this came up like a year or whenever it was, I was like, I thought everybody knew the term glizzy. I thought it was a thing. And then she was like, I've never heard of that. So we did a poll question, and it was actually very split of like 50-50 of people that knew and didn't know. And so I guess it started in from what I've read, it started in like rap culture, the word, and it's just like kind of, I guess, expanded to younger generation now. But I thought everybody knew the word when we first said that. I was like, you don't know what glizzy is?
And I just assumed you knew because of the Chicago connection.
No. Now we'll eat sausage dogs. That'll be it. Get the regular hot dog, cut up the sausage like hot dogs.
So good.
It's phenomenal. Yeah. Good stuff.
Good stuff is right. I know.
Heck yeah.
Now we need to make a sojourn to the ballpark. See a jumbo shrimp game.
Thursday or something with some hot dogs for Taylor. There you go.
Perfect. All right, let's get into some Jaguars football. Training camp begins a week from today. So that means by this time next Wednesday, we will have already taken in our first practice. No pads yet, but certainly there's a lot of different things that we'll be looking to see out there. Of course, the conversation kind of starts and ends with Trevor Lawrence and how he looks, again, even without pads. But I saw this on Benjamin Solak, who does a great job for ESPN as far as training camp battles to watch. And whenever I see national stories, The only thing I expect to see anything about the Jaguars is Travis Hunter. So I was surprised he had 5 training camp battles to watch, and one of the 5 was the Jaguars running back battle. He says the presumed starter is Travis Etienne Jr. I'll just stop right there and ask y'all, do you think, Tom, starting with you, do you think right now the presumed starter is Travis Etienne Jr.?
I think he takes the first snap at camp, but I think Tank will end up winning that job. It's going to be interesting what they do with Etienne Jr. because I think it depends on the 7th rounder out of Syracuse, akin to Allen. If he can pass block like they say and he can catch the ball like they say, you may not need Etienne, especially if Bigsby can, holds on to the ball. Because I like the way Tank Bigsby runs the football. He hits it hard. He's a one-cut guy. He sees the field tremendously. He can take it to the house. He just can't put the ball on the ground. 4 times last year. Now, we recovered 3, but that's still very, very risky. Tootin had, 9 in his career? So we got to watch that. But I think Etienne will start it, the training camp. But I think the overall, they're going to find a way. They may end up moving him. If they're not going to use him, I don't think I don't know. I wouldn't keep him just to keep him. You know what I mean? Now, I do believe one of the themes this year is to do everything for Trevor to make Trevor comfortable, happy, excited, whatever. And him and Travis are tight. So that might be something there. But I think at the end of the day, I think it's the 7th rounder that's the key as to what they do with the rest. Because if he turns out to be a real 3rd down back, because let's be honest, Etienne's okay at picking up the blitz. Tank's not very good at picking up the blitz. I don't know about Tootin yet. And when you see running backs on the sideline and not out in the field, it's because 2 things. They don't hold on to the ball, and they can't pick up the blitzer. They're not good in pass protection. So I think they got to figure that out. But I'd expect Etienne, just because he's been here, he's there, he'll get the first rep. But I think Tank will eventually take it over.
Taylor, I know you do think it's Etienne.
Yeah, I'm higher on Etienne than I think a lot of people are. And I think that the way that we may see things schemed up will benefit. Just from the glimpses I saw in OTAs with a lot of the outside perimeter stuff, runs, which was lacking the last couple years. I'm like, that's what Travis Etienne does. Get him on the outside and let him go. He's not going to run people over on the middle. But I don't know. I almost feel like it's going to be a 50-50 type of thing, or at least close to that, kind of more so like what Detroit did with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. And you had certain situational things that each of them are good at. You built your entire offense around that, around their strengths, rather than trying to force Etienne to be this, find these gaps in the middle and do all of that stuff, and forcing Tank to get outside and maybe block and read blitzes and do things that he's not good at. I think you have different backs to do each. But if you were to ask me if the depth chart came out today, I would guess that, and they did the depth chart, the coaches, I would guess Etienne, that would be my guess, is that he's RB1 right now.
I will say 2 things they want is speed. And they want their own guys to play. I mean, that's what new coaches
so insert
want.
Bashal Tootin, who we haven't.
If they're going to give him a shot, they'll definitely give him a shot, and then it'll be up to him. But, it should be a good battle for sure.
I think Tank is one of the most explosive players on this roster. And I'm with you, Tom, as far as I think he is the starter when the season begins. I'm not saying that they're going to move on from Etienne. I think he still could play an important role here throughout this season, especially because we know he learned early on not to fumble the football, and outside of that week 1 fumble, he didn't have that issue last year. So I do think that they want him on this roster. But to me, they, to your point, they want speed and they want explosiveness. And that screams Tank Bigsby and Bashal Tootin. And then, yes, maybe finding a role for Kent Allen for sure. I haven't seen enough out of Allen through OTAs and training camp.
That's right.
Whereas I feel like Bigsby jumped off the page for me through the offseason. As far as what they do with the pass protection, I feel like that is something that they have hammered into, not just the running backs, but the receivers too. I think these receivers have been told the moment that Tony Baselli got involved, and certainly the moment that Liam Cohen took over, this is going to be a primary role for you this year. You are going to have to block.
Well, let me tell you something. Watching the replays last year and taking my notes, there were plenty of times where Kirk was supposed to seal the edge, just got run over, missed the block. Ingram, Gabe Davis. It happened time and time again. You have to block to have a good running game. You just need that extra block. And I agree with you on those outside zones with Etienne. Those are his best runs. And it was the Jaguars' best runs. And it's why don't you do more of that? But I do think once you get Tank out in the open field, he's taking it to the house. One thing about Travis, I thought coming out of Clemson, you'd see him 80 yards out, nobody's going to catch him. But that has been the case. He's still very fast, don't get me wrong. I think if Allen doesn't turn out to be third down, I think that's going to be Etienne's role if Tank overtakes the starter.
And Etienne did have a hamstring injury last year, so a lot of this was hampered by that.
Yeah, and I think, to Tommy's point, too, I keep going back to you've already taken away a lot of Trevor's security blankets with Kirk and Ingram, and so I do think they'll, at least early in the season, want to let him have that connection of what he has with Etienne until other things start to kind of form and get comfortable. But we did hot takes a month or so ago, Tommy, and I said that I think that Etienne, number one, we'll see flashes of what we saw back in 2022 of that version of Travis Etienne. But I also said I'm not sure he's still on the team by the end of the year, because I think, to your point, there are other backs that if we're seeing a lot out of Bashal Tootin and Laken Allen very early, you're not going to, I don't know how much time you're going to waste. You may try and get something out of Etienne. And we've talked a lot about yesterday with what Liam Cohen did in Tampa and how everything kind of ticked there and what made it work. I saw a stat yesterday of Bucky Irving, because we've given so much credit to Liam Cohen about Bucky. I think we need to give Bucky more credit for what Bucky did. He last year 10 plus yards on 13% of rush attempts in 2024, which was the 7th highest among running backs. 4.4 rush yards after contact in 2024, most among running backs. Forced missed tackle rate of 37.1% on runs in 2024, second highest in the NFL, and 507 rush yards after forced missed tackles in 2024, which was the second most in the NFL. So yes, I think that Liam Cohen was able to design these things and get it to work, but I also think he had a back that was really good at forcing getting those yards after contact, and that's not what Etienne is. So I think as much as early on we might see the security blanket side of it, eventually whatever one can do that type of thing is going to win the job.
Yeah, and I think Bigsby's kind of built that way. You know,
we saw that last year. He was really good at that type of stuff.
He plays the game. Yeah, listen, Bucky Irving really was a special player, but you get the special player in the right system that makes him even look that much better. But hey, listen, you got to break tackles in this league. You know, you have to. You're going to be met at the hole. You're going to be met in the open field. I will say Travis Etienne's phenomenal in the open field.
Yes.
So if you can utilize him in the open field, no doubt all day long. But again, I'm going to go back to if that young kid Allen out of Syracuse, if he can be what they need him to be on third down, I think Travis becomes expendable at some time.
And we've talked about this too, Tom. Rashad White for the Buccaneers last year had 6 receiving touchdowns just in 2024. So they used Bucky Irving. They also used Rashad White. Do you know how many receiving touchdowns that a running back, any of the running backs, had in Jacksonville last year? That would be 0. The Jaguars had 0 running backs have a receiving touchdown in 2024. Wow. Rashad White was tied for the lead in all of the NFL with 6. So get ready to see that element become really important. And that is where, whether it's Tootin, whether it's Laken Allen, they drafted those guys for a reason. And Allen certainly has great hands.
Think of the back coming out of the backfield, even as a last resort, and he's one-on-one and he beats the cover guy and he puts the ball on him. He's getting yards. I mean, because he's quick, obviously, being out there on that down. But those can be daggers in the heart of the defense and even touchdowns, like you're saying. But, man, that's why they're so important. You want them out, and you don't want them chipping. You want them going out in the route because, man, one-on-one, not a lot of linebackers can handle a scat back, a third down back, one-on-one in the open field. They're very hard to cover.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think, and that's what's going to be so interesting about this running back group. So I'm glad they included that, because I do think it is one of the more fascinating ones in the NFL when you talk about the different type of backs you have, but also you have a new offensive coordinator and / head coach that you don't know really what he wants to do here yet. And you also don't know where the line is yet. And that's going to be a big thing too. How much Liam Cohen trusted his line in Tampa mightily. How much does he trust it here? That's going to factor some of the things that he can do with those backs too.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to find out a lot about the O-line. That's probably my most exciting thing to watch in camp. And just because I don't know.
Yeah,
I just want to see them. I mean, you see them running around without pads, and that's one thing. But I want to see them against our defensive line. I think we're gonna see some some hot tempers from time to time, which is good. It's a good thing as long as nobody gets hurt. But I think you're going to see some feisty play. And, look, they got a lot to prove. I mean, you know it. Listen, when the GM says you got to love football, he's talking about finishing blocks. And when you're on the defensive side of that and it's camp and there's that one extra push right at the whistle, sometimes an uppercut follows it. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
And it's 95 degrees with 100% humidity.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me.
No, not at all.
I
love it.
Yeah, give it to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
12 days from now, we get the pads on. So a week from today, training camp begins 12 days days from now, we'll get the pads on. How into streaming are y'all?
Not. I already know where this is going, and I have no idea who that
Like
person
shows,
is.
you mean?
No,
Oh.
like had you heard of
Like
Kai?
Twitch or YouTube streaming.
Yeah. Had you heard of Kai, one of the most famous streamers of all time, until last night or this morning?
No, I don't think I have. My daughters might have, but I don't know if I don't think I have.
Well, Travis Hunter taught the AMP, which is the full
okay.
streaming group, and Kai being one of those last night, how to say Duvall. So we'll let you hear that on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This is 1010XL.
The place is amazing. They got the whole nine. It's ranked as the greatest place to work at in America.
Where every day is a dream come true.
Your grandfather was stronger at 50 than you are at 40. Want to know why? His testosterone was 30% higher than yours. That's not genetics. That's modern life killing your hormones. Stress, chemicals, sitting, it's all crushing your T levels. Male Excel reverses it. Prescription testosterone, thyroid optimization, personalized to you. Over 100,000 men are already winning again. Your turn. Try MaleExcel.com. Free assessment because you deserve it. Your family deserves it.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
It's Helmets and Heels, Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Life is just so busy this time of year. Between work, the kids' games, family vacations, I need a yard hero to free up my weekends.
You mean somebody who does mowing and trimming?
Yeah.
How about mosquito control?
Yeah.
What about irrigation and pet waste removal?
You do that too? You're my lawn hero.
Find your lawn hero at heroeslawncare.com. Heroes Lawn Care, because every lawn needs a hero.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites.
Tired of wrestling with your shower curtain like it's a fight for the last slice of pizza? Ditch the drama and say hello to a smooth, stylish glass shower enclosure from Baker Glass. Wago Glass is clean, elegant, and makes your bathroom look huge and brighter. Give your shower a makeover and feel like you're in a spa without the price tag. I'm Mac at Baker Glass. Call me and get ready to love your new shower. Let's make your shower great again. Remember, Baker Glass, no one treats you better.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On July 16th, 1969, Rod Carew steals home. It was Carew's 7th steal of home that year, and he was one shy of the Major League record by Ty Cobb.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, buddy. Why so glum?
Stinky ice cubes, Jason. It's all downhill from here.
What?
The tap water at my place smells kind of funky. Funky tap water makes funky ice cubes. I meet a nice girl, invite her back to my place for a cocktail, and blow my whole romantic gesture with a mojito that smells like dog's feet.
Wait, I can totally make you way cooler.
I'm not taking your charity ice cubes, Jason. I have my pride.
Your pride is safe. Our plumbers can be at your house the day you call and install a whole home water purification system. Water tastes better, dishes come out cleaner, even your hair feels better after you shower.
Ooh, the ladies love a man with soft hair, don't they, Jason?
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend every day worried about the water in your own home, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Summertime is busy with graduation parties, summer barbecues, festivities, family gatherings. The month of July, National Carpet Cleaning Month. So Zero Res is offering $45 per room of carpet clean and 20% off air duct cleaning services as well. Schedule your appointment at ZeroResJacksonville.com or call them 287-5727 and ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res, spelled backwards or forwards, it spells the same. Zero Res.
As a law enforcement officer, safe roads are one of my top priorities, ensuring everyone can get home safely each day. Some never will, due to aggressive driving, being distracted, or speeding on the roads. And too often, that results in the toughest part of my job and the longest walk in my life. I'm so sorry. I have some very sad news to share with you.
9 people will be killed on our Florida roadways today. Don't let it be you or a person you love. Buckle up every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Everybody's here. All right, bet. I need y'all to say Duvall.
Duvall!
No, like the right way.
Duvall.
Duvall.
Wait,
what's the right way? You see how they spelling it?
Duvall!
It's like Duvall. Okay, Duvall. Okay. Who was that for? I don't know. That's my team.
He said do it the right way.
Yeah, apparently, I guess this streaming group, the AMP, they don't know what Duvall is. And
He said they were like, Duvall.
Travis Hunter had to teach them. It's my team. I guess people don't know outside of Jacksonville that Duvall, that war chant, that war cry, is about Duval County. Like they just don't
people have no
understand
idea.
that.
When I went to the Browns game, I was in Cleveland last year? The year before, I was talking to a bunch of the fans, and I went up there for a Bears game, but the Jags had just played them like the week before or maybe 2 weeks before that. And so we were talking to them, and I was like, yeah, I'm from Jacksonville, and whatever. And we were talking, and they were all like, yeah, the Jags fans, they chant something the whole time. And I was like, oh, it's Duvall, and I'm explaining it, and they thought they were yelling blue balls the whole game. The guy was like, we were so confused.
I've heard people confuse it with booing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it does sound like a boo sometimes.
Yeah. But I guess we need to, at some point, the Jaguars need to get back to being good enough for people to learn
what it is.
Because Saxonville in 2017, everyone knew what that was.
Yeah, that became something. I think when they first started, they must have been listening to Liam's version when he first got here. Because that's what it kind of sounded like. And then Travis corrected him on and did it right. Yeah.
Which maybe that's the first time because that clip went viral. So maybe they heard Liam Cohen's version and just thought that that's how it was said.
Well, clearly I've been saying AMP wrong. So RJ, I need you to explain to everyone that it's the letters.
It shows how much we know about who this person is.
It's the letters AMP. It's not like the AMP, like the St. Augustine Amphitheater, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's AMP. It used to. I think they've gone past the any means possible. It used to be we're going to try to post videos. I think it was every Monday by any means possible because they knew when they understood
So their YouTube
that,
channel was AMP. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's the name of the group.
Any means possible. That's kind of
yeah. So that's how it was supposed to go at the time. One of the guys that's a part of the group, Chris Next Door, used to handle the bulk of their editing and their videos. And so they understood that, listen, if we create videos, we'll probably take days or weeks and then we'll forget about them. So our promise is that we'll post new videos every Monday by any means possible, or AMP.
And so Kai wasn't initially a part of AMP, but they recruited him there somewhat recently, right?
No, he's always been a part of it. So the core was... If you look in the video, I haven't watched the video, but if the core was a guy by the name of Agent 00, who's really the brain trust behind all of it, Duke Dennis, Phantom, Kai, and Chris Next Door. That was the core five. Since then, they've grown a little bit, but that's really their core. So Kai's always been a part of AMP.
I feel like I just learned Migos, and now we got to go this whole other thing. It's going to take a while.
Keep learning. I truly had no idea.
I saw Jamal St. Cyr, who joined Tony Smith earlier on Jaguars Today. I saw him tweet out, Travis Hunter teaching AMP, and that's where I got AMP from.
Yeah.
Teaching
Right.
AMP how to say Duvall, and I was like, okay, we'll definitely use that on our show. I'm glad he found that. And then obviously I needed him to put A period,
Dot.
M period, P period, and then I would have sounded like I knew what I was talking about. But RJ, thank you for that expertise, because none of the three of us are, I think, on Twitch very often.
No, not on Twitch. It sounded good at the end, though. They pulled it together.
Yeah,
at the
they
end.
did.
It was a good job.
Yeah, it almost gave me chill bumps to think
Yeah, a
like
little bit.
we're going
That's
to
how
hear
you grow
that.
fans too.
That's
Super
right.
Bowl,
Guys
here
like
we come.
Travis
Let's
Hunter.
go.
We're going to hear that at training camp starting next week with
Oh,
fans
yeah.
pouring into the Miller Electric Center. All right, so we were talking about training camp battles, and we'll do some more of that on the other side. But right now, Taylor Dahl has a tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
So as we head into camp, we are going to have the conversations about the position groups and which have improved, which we still would like to see more out of. We'll have these conversations all through camp. But yesterday on my tangent, I broke down those third and fourth downs and how the Jaguars have been the worst in those third and fourth downs since 2022 between either Trevor Lawrence or Mac Jones. That's minimum of 200 passes. So I broke that down yesterday. Today, there's going to be another area of concern that I think that we need to focus on improving. And our friend Daniel Griffiths, we've had him on the show before. He is fantastic. If you don't follow him on Twitter or X, go do that. It's at Dan D. Griffiths, because he is strictly breaks down everything you would want to know about the Jacksonville Jaguars and their roster statistically, but also just positional wise compared to other players around the league. He has a lot of good stuff he puts out. But today he dropped one that said talking about the third down, which we know that's been an issue. But how much Liam Cohen can help with those third downs is kind of where we're leaning towards now. And there's a lot of other factors that go into that, but I do think that the coaching can massively affect that. So last year, for example, 29th in conversion percentage on third downs. They were 37th in NFL rating and 38th in completion percentage. So
there's only 32 teams.
Yeah, out of quarterbacks. So Trevor,
Okay,
sorry.
okay. Right.
Trevor Lawrence, third down success in those. He was
I thought
29th
one
in
team was
conversion
lapping
percentage.
us.
Yeah, 29th in conversion percentage, 37th in NFL rating, and 38th in completion percentage. So he had 33% on third down percentage, which I just said was the 29th. He had a 69.1 NFL rating on third downs, which was 37th out of 40 quarterbacks, and then 46.6 completion percentage, which was 38th out of 40 quarterbacks. Got to fix that. I think these are little things that will start to piece along of what did Liam Cohen to help the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that, because I do know that was one of their things that improved between that year before and last year was those third downs. And so I do think that's one thing which kind of goes to what I was saying yesterday. But he also goes on and he talks about that first down drive, the first drive at success, which even going back, I remember at the beginning of 2023 when the Jaguars were winning, my concern that whole time, Lauren, and I said it several times on that show, is it was taking too long for them to score. It would feel like they wouldn't score until the end of the second quarter, and then they'd end up winning the game. But I was like, I don't know how long you can survive not scoring in the beginning of games. And we saw last year how much that helped Washington, for example. The Commanders didn't punt on their first drive, I think, all year, or maybe one time all year or something like that. And so it's definitely beneficial. So Jaguars and have just 14 opening drive touchdowns in the last 6 seasons. So in 100 games, they've only scored on their first drive 14 times. That's 30th in the league.
I'm surprised there's anyone worse.
Yeah,
really.
two people are worse somewhere. I'm guessing probably like the Browns and the Jets, or probably the Bears,
yeah.
honestly. Liam Cohen's offense scored 8 just last season, which was an NFL best. The Bucs led NFL in EPA per play, yards, touchdowns, and points on opening drives in 2024. The Jaguars obviously they haven't been able to do that, so they have to fix being able to score early, because I think that's been one of the biggest things when we talk about consistency with Trevor. Consistency with the team and being able to play a full 4 quarters has been kind of a factor in that too. So I do think, because they said 54 first quarter points is what they have, and I'm trying to think. So they fix an ability to score early, fell behind too early too often, 54 first quarter points, which is 3.2 average. You're not going to win a lot of football games like that. And then Brian Thomas Jr. didn't even have 100 total receiving yards across all the first quarters in the entire 2024 season. Wow. So let's get the ball to Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah. Let's score on some of your opening drives. Feel free to take a lead and make that opposing team feel like they actually have to play against something.
Well, listen, Liam, obviously his play calling helped a ton, but go back to what you're saying about Bucky Irving.
Yeah.
You talk about those stats. Baker Mayfield, 71% completion percentage. I wonder what that was on third down. I mean, the stud wide receivers. Cade Otton filled in when he had to. The other running back had 6 touchdowns receiving, so he also had the right personnel.
Yep.
To go with an offensive line that ended up being pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So do we have that here is the question. And if we don't, can it get better? I think it can with Liam's coaching, or at least his play calling, at least some pre-snap stuff. But let's be honest, the quarterback has to be more accurate.
Yeah.
He has to be more accurate on every down, but especially on third down. It's not all his fault, but it revolves around the QB. And if the QB's on point, you have a better chance at converting those third downs. So now, look, part of that also was 3rd and 1. They could get no push. So I know part of that third down percentage is not all on Trevor. I'm not saying that. He does have to be better at that. But the other part was they couldn't get a running first down, right? They couldn't move the chains that way either. So that's got to change as well. Look, it's all going to come down to the way they hold these guys accountable, in my opinion. Yes, the play calling matters, but the players have got to make the plays, and they got to do it consistently. And I never felt like there was any ramification for bad play last year. Yeah, you didn't. You know, you miss, you blow a route, you drop a ball. It was like, oh well.
Miss a wide open tackle.
Yeah, something like that. But no big deal. Let's pat him on the back and tell him, go get him next time. You know, we'll clean it up. You know, that kind of stuff. So I think that's going to change. And look, they're hoping with their personnel they brought in that's going to change on that side too.
I don't know if you mentioned this, Baker Mayfield on third down just last year with the Bucs, 69.1% completion percentage, 12 touchdowns.
Yeah, then that's what you would hope you can see out of Trevor. And I don't know how quickly, to your point, Tommy, there's other factors in that. So the offensive line, the run game, all of these things are also going to be factoring into that. But if you have a quarterback that can elevate certain areas of the game, that's when you're seeing the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah. And a lot of it is the advantage of your play caller.
Yeah.
The ingenuity that your play caller brings to the table. When you watch the quarterback series on Netflix, that's one of my favorite things, is watching them not just trick plays, but develop plays that the defenses haven't seen yet. And having a play caller that has creative play calls, wow, what does that feel like? And some teams can pull those up multiple times per game and keep the defense on their heels. And what I love about Liam
Collins, have to run, pass.
Right, exactly. It doesn't have to be predictable. Liam Cohen's offense, while they're not going to run a ton of personnel groupings at you, but they're still going to be incredibly creative to where the defense doesn't know, even if they're running the football, still the defense doesn't know what they're going to do.
Well, he's going to get them open with rub routes and things. I thought we saw that in 2022. Those guys are always open, it seemed, and everything seemed to work together. The other side of that thinking, though, is, look, if I'm a team and I got 10 plays that work, I don't need all these other plays. You know what I mean? I got my guys are beating their guys. They're doing it the right way. We're always on time. We're always executing the right way. We're always running the right routes. We're always blocking. You know what I mean? Those things factor in too. Having some creativity is absolutely important because you never know when you're going to have to pull that one out. You know, in a big game or fourth quarter, they got to show them something that they haven't seen. Whatever it may be. But nothing wrong with having those in your back pocket ready to go. But at the end of the day, it's you got to line up and beat the guy in front of you. You got to do that timing of the route. You got to get the ball out right way. You got to hit the hole the right time. I mean, all those things matter, right? Play calling's big. There's no doubt about it. But execution of the play call is way bigger, in my opinion.
I always say that. I always say the reason I don't like to put wins and losses, that win-loss record on a quarterback as one of their stats. If you say a quarterback is so-and-so, I hate that because there are so many things that have to go right before the ball is even in the quarterback's hand. And so to me, I feel like if you don't have all of those things going perfectly right before the ball's even in the hand, then it's kind of up to the quarterback to play superhero, and some can do that. Patrick Mahomes can do that. Josh Allen can do that. Lamar Jackson can do that. But if you're not that top four of that group of quarterbacks, then you do need things. You need a little bit of help. You need things to go right in front of you.
Which is okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. And by the way, let's not forget the defense and how many first drives they gave up there, 10-play drives, 13, 17. I think Cleveland had a 17-play opening drive against our defense. So they didn't do our offense any favors either.
But Cleveland was so good last year. All right, Taylor, you want to give away some lunch?
Yeah, we have free lunch to Chick-fil-A. Give us a call at 641-1010. Let's say caller number 4. And you get free lunch today to Chick-fil-A.
Love it. All right, we'll get it to some more training camp battles for the Jacksonville Jaguars on the other side. We've talked about running back, a little bit about offensive line. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on Tintinix on 92.5 FM.
Believe in the unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
1010XL.
I can't believe it.
We're hearing is believing.
Unbelievable.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
It's Helmets and Heels, Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning.
Scheduling was easy, and the tech showed up right on time.
From plumbing and septic to air conditioning, we do it all. Call 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckrooter.com. When you're stuck, call the Duck.
Oh, yes, football season is almost here, so before it arrives, I'm going to get my home organized. Lauren Brooks here. I'm so excited to meet with the team at Closets by Design early next week and discuss all the different improvements that they can make for our home. You can do the same. Call today to schedule a free in-home consultation and receive 40% off plus an additional 15% off with free installation. Yes, that is 40% off plus an additional 15% off during the month of July. Call 904-878-9393 or visit them online, closetsbydesign.com.
Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Aleve can help you deal with pain less throughout your day. Whether it's a long day on your feet, a demanding workout, or everyday aches and pains, you need relief that can keep up when pain persists. Aleve is here for you with longer-lasting body pain relief compared to leading OTC-branded pain relievers. With just one pill, Aleve lasts up to 12 hours. Don't let those aches hold you back from doing what's important to you. Use as directed.
It's Christmas in July at Beard's Diamonds with as much as 40% off everything in the store. Maybe it's time to treat yourself to a fabulous fashion ring, necklace, or bracelet. You can do it now and save as much as 40% off Beard's already unbeatable prices. And don't forget, Beard's is the town center's locally owned diamond superstore. Don't settle for the corporate chain store experience when you can get the value, service, and attention you deserve. Don't miss Christmas in July. Save up to 40% exclusively at Beard's Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center.
1010XL's running game takes a giant step forward.
Fred Taylor is the whole package.
Fred Taylor joins Dan and Jeff on the drill. Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein & Robbins and Monahan Jewelers.
Chelsea here. Summer is sizzling and so are the savings at Renewal by Anderson. For a limited time, buy 4 windows in our patio doors and receive the 5th free. Plus enjoy 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 18 months. As temperatures rise, so do energy bills. Upgrade to Renewal by Anderson's exclusive Fibrix windows, 2 times stronger than vinyl, remarkably energy efficient, and custom crafted to perfectly fit. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation today. Restrictions apply. License number CGC 1527613.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. When it's smooth as silk, Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. You're on-road, you're off-road, now you're on the water. Greg, tell everybody what Coach and Honda is offering in the form of boats.
We've got the Honda boat, which is a great runabout fisherman. We've got the Coach boats. They're fantastic for getting out with a family. Nice lay-down beds, all with that legendary Honda motor on them.
Check them all out. They're waiting for you. You can see how you can be on the water with Honda or with Coach pontoon boats. Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic near Regency.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Send your favorite person a sweet summer surprise today from Kuhn Flowers, creating memories for over 70 years. I'm RJ, and it's just so easy. Order online at kuhnflowers.com, Jacksonville, and Ponte Vedra.
With 50 years of fabrication expertise in towing products, the family at Cannons of Jacksonville can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Are you living with diabetic neuropathy? That pain and numbness in your hands or feet? What about chronic knee or shoulder pain? Maybe you've tried various treatments, but they've been ineffective. Now there's a solution. Dr. Ferdinand Formoso specializes in advanced pain management and offers breakthrough neuromodulation treatments for those conditions. His innovative treatments target the source of your pain, offering relief where medications may fall short. All procedures are performed outpatient with no hospitalization required. Just a chance for you to feel and live better. If you want to learn more, Dr. Formoso is hosting free informational classes where he'll explain the benefits of neuromodulation therapies and how they can help eliminate your pain. Spaces are limited, so call to reserve your spot now with offices on the South Side, West Side, and Jacksonville Beach. Relief is possible with Formoso spine and joint pain specialists.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update brought to you by Baker Glass. Tomorrow, the final major championship of the year begins, the 153rd Open Championship at Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland. The last time the Open was held at Portrush was in 2019 when it was the Irishman Shane Lowry who took the title. World number 3 Xander Schauffele is the defending champion golfer of the year for one more day as the field looks to pry the claret jug from his hands. In some Summer League news, the Orlando Magic fell to the Oklahoma City Thunder last night. However, their top Summer League performers, including first-round pick Jace Richardson, second-round pick Noah Penda, and Tristan Da Silva, all did not play due to rest. Golden State Warriors second-round pick Will Richard pieced together a nice performance in their win over the Memphis Grizzlies last night with 12 points, 2 boards in 23 minutes. It's 90 degrees at 3 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Just reminding you, she comes to Daly's Place Tuesday, July 29th and Wednesday, July 30th. Back-to-back nights of the 90s country superstar. If you don't have your tickets yet, go to dailysplace.com and get yours today. It's going to be an absolute blast. All right, we've talked about training camp battles for the running back, certainly. The offensive line a little bit. I think we all know that there's competition at certain spots along there, but I think we can focus on that once the pads go on. Mm-hmm. To me, another really interesting training camp battle is safety. And Taylor, we've talked about this for quite some time. I have no idea who the starting 2 safeties are right now. I think it's Eric Murray. I'm pretty sure he's one of them. But who the other one is opposite him, I don't know to this point.
I've talked so much about our safety position. I feel like the last year, but especially the last 5-6 months, I'm very, very intrigued of this group because it has to improve. It was so bad. One of the worst safety rooms or groups play in the league last year, and you can't let that happen again. And especially because I do think there's so many other positives on the defensive side of the ball. You don't want this big sore thumb to constantly pop out in that safety room, which last year was a lot of everything. But this year you do feel like, depending what happens opposite Tyson Campbell, you feel that Travis Hunter or, Buster Brown or Jarian, whoever wins that job, but they're confident in Jordan Lewis. You're confident in Tyson Campbell, especially if he's out there healthy. That front, you added edge rushers. You feel like Eric Armstead inside is going to be good. But we've talked yesterday a ton about the linebackers and how confident we are in Foye and Devin Lloyd and Ventrell. That is the biggest question mark, I think, on the defensive side of the ball. And you do have, I'm not big on Eric Murray. The team is, obviously, because they brought him in for a reason. I hadn't seen anything at his time in Houston that showed that he was worth paying. But we will see. I hope that's another one that I hope I'm wrong about. But yeah, that other side, since they brought him in and they paid him, I'm assuming he's going to be starting there, at least to start the season. And then is it Savage? Is it Antonio Johnson? Is it Caleb Ransaw? Is it Dewey? And that's going to be, those 4 guys are all 4 going to be battling for that other spot across from Eric Murray.
Yeah, I think Wingard is, he's going to end up starting at the beginning of the year. Unless Ransaw can really show that he knows the defense, no problem. Yeah. He's just a good insurance policy. He's not the flashiest guy, but he's very instinctive. He's good coming up. He'll hit you when he has to. No, he's not going to run down some 4-3 wide receiver, that kind of thing. But I tell you what, he made plays all off season, it seemed like. And when they went 11 on 11, I think he's going to be kind of, and it's a good position to be in. You want Ransaw to be out there most likely because he's your guy and he brings that added speed, but you're not just going to throw him out there if he doesn't know what he's doing. We saw that last year. Yeah. It wasn't always the talent. It was just, I don't even know how they were out of position most of the time, but they were biting on the underneath route. They were high-lowing them. There were guys wide open down the field. It seemed like a lot, and it didn't matter who it was. It could have been Cisco. It could have been Savage. Antonio Johnson. That's a kid, man. I hope he can put it together because I just think physically he is everything you want out of a safety. He can blitz. He's fast. He's long. He's lean. He can run. But he's got to figure it out.
Yeah, he struggled last year.
He did.
Sure.
Savage. Now, Savage has got a chance because maybe they were, Campanile from Green Bay. Maybe there's something there that he can figure out. But I wasn't impressed by Savage. No disrespect to Darnell. I know he's out there trying. He did make some plays. It wasn't like he didn't make any plays, but not enough plays, especially down the stretch. So I agree. If you look at this defense right now, the safety position is one that you're just kind of like, we'll put a little question mark next to it. Doesn't mean it's going to be bad. I agree with you on Murray. When they signed him, I was like, okay, they must see something. I mean, look, it's funny how, like, when we, and I don't mean us, but just people in general, our regime will grab something and be like, oh, that's a great one. And then we'll grab somebody else and be like, I don't know if that's really but it's the same guys grabbing him with the same kind of philosophy and the same kind of thought. So I got to believe that they went after him for a reason. Yeah. And with that being said, like you said, he's most likely going to be that starter. But that other position, man, that's going to be fun to watch. And if I'm Wingard, I'm going in as I'm taking that starting job.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to need him back there, not just as a general, field general.
He said he believes he's a starting safety in the league. I look back to last year's training camp, and Taylor, I know you were out there that day at practice when he went down with that knee injury. I'm not saying that was the domino that then all the other ones fell, and that's why the team ended up going 4-13 just because this one player got hurt who's not even a starter. But it did feel like certainly some steam went out of the balloon, so to speak, when he's not around because he is vocal and he certainly is not afraid to speak his mind.
That might have saved some things early on if you had Dewey to throw out there if he was healthy early on last year.
You make it great. Communication on the back end is ridiculously important. And you didn't see a lot of community. Like even the backers, like I can remember Foye and Devin, they had like in-out situations. And it's very simple when you're in man. I take the inside guy, you take the outside guy, and they're always like they wouldn't even like turn you to talk. Like you could tell they're not even communicating. You've got to communicate on the back end just so everybody's on the exact same page. And you got to have the guy that's communicating know exactly what he's doing every single time. Know which one where we're going to roll the coverage, what we're going to flip to, whatever the case may be. But very important on being vocal back there. And Wingard, he knows that stuff hands down.
Which is why if Caleb Ransaw doesn't start, to me it's because he played corner at Tulane, not safety. Yeah, and so that communication part of things isn't going to come as naturally
You'll have to develop
him.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
You're kind of on an island when you're an outside corner. And so I think that will be something that maybe we'll certainly listen to, not even just watch, but listen to Caleb Ransaw when we see him at practice and see how much more vocal he can be. And it's got to be hard as a rookie. Like these guys, especially, whether it's Darnell Savage, whether it's Eric Murray, certainly corner, nickel corner, Jordan Lewis, they've been in the league for close to 10 years. You don't want to necessarily be the one calling the shots at that point in time.
Yeah. And then for when it comes to Ransaw too, because I agree, I think it will take a little bit of time you're making that adjustment on the NFL level too, which I think is going to take a little bit. But I also think Caleb's probably coming into this saying this is a very winnable job because this was a group that was not good last year. And you got to carry a chip on your shoulder when it comes to that.
Plenty of corners have made the switch to safety, too. I mean, you typically later in their career, but they do it, and it doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. And then we see the other side. I mean, Rasheed Mathis was a safety in college, right? And then he turned out to be one of the best corners in our team's history. So he's got the athletic ability. It's just going to be he's just got to get used to position. It's a different way to see the field when you go from one side looking at one angle to in the middle and seeing all of
Having to see all of the field.
Yeah, it's a little different.
We ran out of time yesterday to get to Teddy Bridgewater. The former NFL quarterback was suspended by his high school that he's been coaching for down in Miami Northwestern. And it's just a funny thing because while what he was allegedly doing was giving impermissible benefits to the students, but he, of course, came out and said, but I'm not an employee, so it's impossible for me to give said impermissible benefits to my student athletes. He doesn't want to leave. People have said that he could go coach certainly other high schools easily because they did win the state championship last year. Miami Northwestern did. I think at the end of the day, we need to stop worrying about quote unquote impermissible benefits to student athletes, especially in high school, because we're now paying high school athletes before they even get to college sums of NIL money. So I think we should just stop worrying about that. Like the playing field was never going to be level. So as far as some schools, they're going to have more money than other schools. Some parents are going to have more money than other parents. Some boosters, even though you're not supposed to have boosters. So just get out of that whole ordeal, FHSAA or Miami Northwestern. Don't worry about it. If he wants to come out of his pocket and pay for these student athletes, let it be done.
Yeah, especially because the things he was doing were all to benefit and help. When he was getting Ubers for kids who couldn't get to practice, he was paying for meals. He was paying for their training camps. Like that's the type of stuff that you should love, that somebody wants to pour into your program that way that Teddy is, and taking his own money to help these kids who otherwise may not have the chance to even be there and compete.
He's his own NIL collective in high school. Right? What's the problem?
I have no issues with that.
The only other side of it is if it helped him in recruiting because he was giving these, then...
But you're not supposed to recruit in high school anyway.
Well, you're not supposed to, but you know it happens. It happens right here in Jacksonville.
It happened when I was in high school.
Private schools always... Listen, I was saying this on the podcast the other day, and when I was coming out of 8th grade, me and three of my buddies were being recruited by these private Catholic high schools. And they'd be like an hour away. We're like, an hour away? What are you, crazy? Think we're going to go to a bus and then drive to a bus? But now, an Uber ride with food?
Yeah.
I might reconsider.
They're like, you get an Uber and breakfast on the way.
Drive through and I get to chill out in the back seat of a nice little town car or something. That's cool.
In the 90s, my best friend was recruited we were at one private school. She was recruited by a different private school to switch. And she decided not to, but that is totally illegal back then.
Yeah.
Listen, but who's going to find out?
I think it was more out of the goodness of his heart. But, other people are probably from the outside going, well, that isn't fair.
It's not fair.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and we see people all the time, like even in this community, when it comes to like Daniel Murphy and the uniforms, like that would be like saying that is doing the same thing that Teddy is, because he's just trying to help the school that he went to when he goes to Inglewood and providing new uniforms. But people will be like, oh, well, they have new uniforms, so that's going to help them recruit because they have this or that. And so at some point you have to say, we're in this world now where kids are getting paid, and if they have the ability, just like in college football, if they have the ability to have some extra help, then that's great for the student athletes that get to go there.
Yeah, listen, pay for your championships. It's all good.
That's what Ohio State did, so it's fine. All right, on the other side, we've got the Terminix Pest of the Day, and then Commissioner Greg Sankey is set to join Frank Frangie and Matt Hayes up in Atlanta at SEC Media Days right at 3:30. So keep it right here on 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Frank Frangie.
The quarterback. 2 receivers lined up to the left. Once the quarterback has the ball, he fakes to the left. No.
Afternoons.
He fakes to the right.
On 1010XL.
He thinks about faking. He pretends to fake.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie, and I've got to tell you, I've heard Hacker and Mike and Matt talk so much about Awaken 180, how easily they were able to lose weight, how it works, the personalized coaching, the food choices, the whole bit, and I was really impressed. So when my daughter Amber told me she was trying to lose a few pounds, I recommended it. She and I both connected with the folks at Awaken 180 to learn more. Well, she started and she absolutely loves it. She said the food choices are perfect for her. She loves her coach. She believes it truly will improve her overall health. Man, there's not much better than hearing your kid excited. I can assure you nobody means more to me than my daughter. And I wouldn't trust just any company to help her, but I trust the folks at Awaken 180. If you are ready to kickstart your transformation, you should give them a call at 844-346-1800 or visit awaken180weightloss.com. It's helped our family. It truly has. It can help yours as well. Give Awaken 180 a call today.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When cockroaches move into your home or business, you want them out and fast. At Terminix, they don't just get rid of the roaches. They evict them and work to prevent them from coming back. Because no one likes an uninvited pest. When cockroaches show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a cockroach problem. I certainly don't. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
Who conquers the links and claims the Claret Jug?
Oh, he's done it.
Take your shot at the Open Championship with 1010XL's You Pick'em contest. Teed up by Pella Windows and Doors. You could win $1,000 of jewelry from Beard's Diamonds. Enter at 1010XL.com.
Frank Frangie here. It's always truck season at Nimnick Chevrolet. Well, this month you can save up to 20% off a new Silverado or get financing rates as low as 0%. Unlike most dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground, ready for you to explore. With their extensive selection, you're sure to find your perfect truck at Nimnick. So shop online at nimnickchevy.com or visit the dealership at Park and Cassett. Who's got more new Chevrolets at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Helmets and heels.
Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Who says there's no free lunch? Join me, Hicken, and Jaguar and Gator legend Fred Taylor for free food and football talk Friday, August 8th at Alhambra Theater. When you hear this...
Bye-bye! Brock Marionville chasing a 90-yard run.
Be caller 28 to win a pair of tickets to a free lunch with Fred. Doors open at 11. Jags talk, Gators talk, football talk, including a 1-hour Q&A with Freddie T. And we're buying you lunch. Stay tuned for this sound.
Bye-bye! Brock Marionville chasing a 90-yard run.
To win your tickets, courtesy of Jenkins Hyundai and Genesis of Jacksonville on Atlantic.
Frank Frangie here for Bono's Pit Barbecue. Summer is here, and that means it's time to feast on delicious Bono's St. Louis ribs. The small and large rib platters are at a low price to beat the summer heat, and you get 2 southern sides and garlic toast with each platter. It's an unbelievable deal that won't last long, so head to Bono's today to get your St. Louis ribs platter. I'm hungry now just talking about it. Head to Bono's today, and remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Hey, it's Joe C. When was the last time you flushed out your water heater? Flushing a water heater each year improves its efficiency and extends its lifespan. So call Roland Reese Plumbing for a routine water heater flush out and any other plumbing needs. 260-7059. Roland Reese Plumbing.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
San Jose Collision in Mandarin is proud to be an I-CAR Gold Class collision repair facility. That means they meet the industry's highest training standards. Experience the difference at San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Celebrate National Carpet Cleaning Month with Zero Res. Hicken here. Check this out. $45 per room of carpet clean. Take 20% off your air duct services. Book online at ZeroResJacksonville.com and take advantage of the savings.
Zero Res. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jax cool since 87.
I wanted to remind some people that we will be in Vegas the weekend. Yes, the weekend of August 21st, 22nd, and 23rd for the at Circa Resort and Casino, which we were back in December, and it's absolutely fantastic. But I wanted to remind you of the different ways you can win money there, because there's several right now. The Circa Survivor is one, Circa $1,000,007 is another one. So there's a total of $21 million in total guaranteed prizes across those two contests that you can win. You do have to go there, so you do have to be in Nevada to enter. But once you enter in Nevada, you will get a link to a portal. You'll be able to do everything you need to do from home. But obviously the Circa Survivor one is where you pick a different team throughout the year to win. You just pick one each week. If you go 20-0 throughout the season, then you win that. Or if you get dropped out at the same time, if you're the last one to lose, then you win. Or you could share the pot if there's multiple winners still left, and maybe everybody makes it to the end or everybody loses in, let's say, week 16, whatever the case may be.
$1,000 in. And it's a guaranteed $15 million prize.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of money there. The Circa Million is $1,000 per entry, a max of 5 entries on that one, and a $6 million in guaranteed prizes for that. And that one you're picking against the spread for, so a little more complicated because I'm not the spread type of girl, but if you are, if you like to,
Good one,
Here we go.
Good one. Here we go.
Picking against the spreads, I am not good at. Last year we tried when we tried with our contest last year, and I'm not good with picking against the spreads. I don't know why I get too much in my head, but that one, the Circa Survivor, is
There's a reason
the Circa
Vegas
7
is in business because they're good
at doing that. Yes. But so yeah, if you head over to 1010xl.com/Vegas, there's links there. All the details of how you register. It is open now, and you can register until September 6th at 2 p.m. So you go to Vegas anytime between now and then, or if you want to come hang out with us for the football kickoff weekend, we will be there then. And then also there are room deals. So if you have 1 through 9 entries into this, you get half off of your Circa Resort and Casino rooms for that weekend. If you have more than 9, then you can get free rooms for that weekend. So all the details on our website, head over because it'll be a lot of fun that weekend.
Oh, yeah, that'll be fun.
You've been to Vegas, right?
Yeah, but it's been a while.
Okay.
Yeah, got my first tattoo in Vegas.
Oh, yeah?
Matching tattoos, me and the wife, like 25 years ago, something like that.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
Taylor reneged on a tattoo bet, and that's won
a Stanley Cup since 2015.
But that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
All right, time now for today's Terminix Pest of the Day, is always brought to you by our friends at Terminix. If you have cockroach issues, if you have any sort of pest issues whatsoever, also mosquitoes in your front yard, your backyard, you want Terminix to come spray like they're doing at my house. Later this week, visit them online at Terminix.com, TERMINIX.com. They are the absolute best in the business. Every single person I've dealt with at Terminix has been fantastic, and that's why they take care of all pest issues at Everbank Stadium, ViStar Ballpark, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, and all of your favorite event venues around town. So the All-Star game last night, fantastic, start to finish. Zach Brown Band singing the national anthem was incredible. If you haven't heard it, you can find that on social. The Hank Aaron tribute was absolutely amazing. His 715th home run when he eclipsed Babe Ruth. The whole show that they did for that tribute was just fantastic. I literally cannot say enough good things about how good that was. The problem and the reason that they're the pest of the day is that the sport is most likely heading to another lockout season. And of course, there's financial reasons for that. Currently, 10% of Major League Baseball players earn 72% of the wages in the sport. I'll say that again. 10% of the players earn 72% of the wages. The reason that they don't have a salary cap or a salary floor is because the executive director of Major League Baseball Players Association, Tony Clark, believes that a salary cap will increase competitive balance in the game, saying plenty of teams have money based off of the financial information that they receive, but they choose not to be competitive. So we don't have a lot of time here to discuss at length, but basically the ins and outs are the majority of the owners want the salary cap because they don't want certain teams paying the amounts that are 3 times the amount that the Marlins or the Pirates or the Rays pay. And the Players Union doesn't want the salary cap because they think that that's going to hurt their long-term deals and keep those a little lower. But also they think some of the owners are just being cheap. They can't afford the long-term. Yeah, they can't afford that, and they just choose not to.
I've heard a lot of people say they'd rather a salary cap floor than a cap, because the problem is guys like in Pittsburgh, he pockets a lot of money, and you have the money technically pay the players, but you're just being cheap and not doing it. So a lot of the players, for example, are more so, let's put a floor in there so the owners have to pay their players a certain amount of
million.
Yeah, you have to do X amount of money, which to me makes more sense. I don't know if you can ever say you can't pay in this sport, especially because you do when you talk about the value of a Shohei Ohtani and Juan Soto. Those are the Aaron Judge. Those are the guys that we're going to talk about getting paid the most, even though we know Shohei did some strange things with his contract. He's not getting all of that money right now. But those guys you feel like are, yes, they're the faces of baseball. You feel like they deserve that. But it is just looking at the average annual value. So Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Jacob deGrom, Garrett Cole, they're all sitting at the top. Mike Trout, they're $51 million for Juan Soto right now. Aaron Judge is $40. And then it goes to a bunch of 30s. There's a big chunk of guys making like in the 30s. But then it drops and it gets to like some guys in the 20s. And then it goes to $13 million. And the rest of the league is making $13 million or less.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And that's why, I tend to agree. They need a floor. I think they also need a cap because I don't think you should have the teams that have so much money outspending others.
What happened to wasn't there a luxury tax? Is that no longer?
They still have it, but the rich owners don't mind paying the luxury.
No, they don't. Right. But what makes it the luxury? Like, isn't there a cap? Like,
if
you
they
go over
spend
the cap?
over a certain amount, then it seemed like the Mets might have to pay that. Yeah. But
so the players, I would think some of them would want the cap. Even, the guys that are utility player, whatever you want to call them, that aren't the big money guys, because they'll get guaranteed better contracts.
I think in their head, though, if in their heads, if you do a floor, then you have to pay X amount, and then they're going to say, okay, but the highest paid players, you'll be able to say, well, this catcher makes X amount, so I should be able to make more because here's our numbers. Here's everything that's happening, and I'm doing the same thing. So they'd have an argument to make more money. If you have a cap and no floor, then their argument kind of would get a little bit lost there because there would be a little more range of what guys are making.
Right. All right. On the other side, Greg Sankey awaits. He will join Frank Frangie and Matt Hayes. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Launch the downloads. Join the 1010XL Podcast Network.
And initiate sequence.
Now you can find all your favorite 1010XL podcasts in your platform of choice.
Big Chief Tire is always looking for ways to better serve the Jacksonville community we call home. Frank Frangie here. Starting Monday, June 16th, they're opening their 6th shop location in Mandarin, providing more Jacksonville residents with a locally owned auto repair business they can trust. Visit the new shop on San Jose Boulevard today for all your vehicle needs, including brake repair, new tires, and more. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule an appointment today.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. It's the little things like a peach milkshake on a warm day that make summer sweet. And now you can head to your local Chick-fil-A and enjoy a favorite summer treat again. Hand-spun the old-fashioned way, their refreshing milkshake features Chick-fil-A ice cream and peaches. It's the perfect cold treat to enjoy outside on a warm day or with friends and family after dinner. And it's here for just a limited time, so swing by your local Chick-fil-A and treat yourself today.
Are you ready to reclaim your backyard? Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, Surfside Pools is the trusted name for expert pool design. Family owned and operated, they offer pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools transform your backyard into the oasis that you crave. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, where luxury meets leisure.
License number CPC 044080.
It's a Helmets and Heels Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Hey, Hickett here. Think you got the ugliest garage floor on the First Coast? Your garage a crack-stained hot mess? Hold on to your squeegee. Checkmate Coatings is hunting for the worst garage floor out there. And the winner gets a free garage coating makeover. Whoa! Take 10 seconds. Snap a pic of that garage eyesore. Register at checkmatecoatings.com/contests for a chance to win a free floor coating. It's easy. Just snap a quick pic and enter for a chance to win at checkmatecoatings.com/contest. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
It's hurricane season. Protect your home with 904 Gutters with a Z. That's right. Z as in zone defense for your home. Water damage hits hard. 904 Gutters with a Z hits back harder. Search 904 Gutters with a Z and make the right call.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about letting things roll off of your back. So often we can make big deals out of things that are not really big deals. We can allow them to steal the joy of our day. But let me remind you that don't allow anyone or anything to steal the joy of today. Go out today not letting little things steal the big things that God has in store for you.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On July 16, 1969, Rod Carew steals home. It was Carew's 7th steal of home that year, and he was one shy of the Major League record by Ty Cobb.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just the job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Oh, by the way, Ivan's no longer on the project. His wife got a new job, so they're moving across the country.
Robin's top researcher is deviating to a new market. This isn't standard.
And now we're short-staffed. Who's going to finish all these projects?
She needs a cluster of new data analysts, and there's no margin for error.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Right now, they're on their way to disrupt your life, make you uncomfortable, and rob you. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. That's right. Summer heat and humidity are about to attack North Florida again. You know what to do. Call Mike Merritt. Mike Merritt's Heating and Air has a license to chill. When heat and humidity are attacking you, Mike Merritt provides a comfortable chill at a bargain price. Mike has been keeping North Florida comfortable for 30 years. Mike Merritt technicians are never paid commissions, meaning you'll never be pressured to buy something you don't need. And Mike Merritt knows cooling issues can arise anytime. They don't just happen during business hours. So Mike Merritt never charges overtime fees. When you need us, we're here for you. Remember, in the fight against heat and humidity, Mike Merritt has a license to chill. Visit merrittair.com. Florida license number CACO 50384.
Guys, your lawn's the home field. Now you can champion your St. Augustine grass. TopDressing.com just hit Jacksonville with a game-changing patented process. Aerate and transform your turf into a fairway-worthy masterpiece. Less water, shorter cuts, and the envy of every neighbor. No one else delivers a perfect 10 lawn like this. Visit TopDressing.com and dominate your block with the same process that golf courses use. Top dress your lawn like the pros with TopDressing.com.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is SEC College Football.
It's Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing SEC Media Days.
Brightened by Window World of Northeast Florida and Underwood Jewelers on 1010XL.
From Jacksonville to Atlanta we go. The SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey is about to join Frank Frangie and Matt Hayes. So, Frank, take it away, please.
Lauren, thank you very much. Frank Frangie, Matt Hayes with you, and a pleasure to welcome in Commissioner Greg Sankey. He's always kind enough to join us. You do such a good job. You go up and down this thing, don't you? I mean, this...
I do, and around actually too. Yeah. So I've made laps from one end to the other. There's a little bit more space, and then everything's here. It's a little bit easier to move people around. So it's a neat setup, and you guys have a great view.
This is fantastic.
Turn around and see what's happening on the big stage.
We have loved this, Greg. It seems like the world of college football never stops changing. Is it exhausting? Is it exhilarating? Because we can ask you 10,000 questions about the portal and the playoff and going to 16 and all. But from your standpoint, do you wish it would slow down and there'd be more stability?
The day 3 of media days, it's exhausting. So I'll give you that. It's both at the same time. I've read some historical books. In fact, the quote that we've shared with ADs is, the reality of football is it's an ever-changing game. I mean, that's just over time. And the benefit of having studied a bit of sports history years ago and continuing to have an interest one of the heartwarming realities is some of these problems have lingered for 100 years. Sometimes they're shoved under the rug. Sometimes they pop out into the dustpan, if you will, but nobody else has figured it out. So it's not like we're running around as, the village idiots because we can't get this done. These have been hard issues.
But you're also a guy. Well, hang on. Let me turn you on. Sorry, Matty.
Man, I love the fact that
Matt couldn't talk.
He loves I can't
tell
talk
me which
much.
dial that was.
We shut down Matt.
He loves I can't talk.
It's a yellow dial. I'm just not
Yes,
sure
it is. Matt's on yellow. Now you know.
You can't avoid me, man. Whether you like it or not, you can't. You are also a big history. You're a history buff. You're a music buff. There are people in history, there are people in music that do different things, that go out on the edge, that try to change and push the envelope. You've now become that guy in college sports. Are you comfortable in that role?
That's reality to a certain extent. It's interesting, like you take the college football playoff. I can tell you who came up with the 12-team model. That was me, when you're trying to balance, like on the head of the pin, a bunch of different motivations and objectives, and it worked really well for what it was intended to do.
Until the Alliance came in and scuttled it for a year.
Well, that was real. Yeah, I mean, that was introduced in June.
Right.
We expanded in July, and then you had a year and a half sitting in our hands. We're paying the price for that. That's why you don't do those things.
Right.
That's why you don't just become obstinate to be obstinate. You have to work through problems, and I would just submit that, there may be disagreements now, but I think what's been healthy is the ability to talk through different perspectives, and that can make ideas better. There are plenty of innovators. I think you have to give Brett credit for some of the things he's done with the Big 12, the 4 time zone thing. I'm not that innovative. They've got that in the Big 10 as well. I think that maybe that's a great communication point. It's also a bit of a challenge. What I want us to do is to set a standard of excellence and operate to that, and that's in everything that we do. And that causes people to follow, and that creates innovative opportunities.
Greg, as the subject everyone's talking about is the new playoff, and if we get to 16, by now everybody knows the 4-4-2-2-1-3 versus the 5-11. I don't need to go over that because our listeners all know it. Do you have a preference? It seems like your coaches prefer the 5-11 now, which maybe they didn't before. The Big Ten prefers the other. What do you prefer?
Well, let me break it down just a little bit more specifically. So, as I said, I was involved in the design of the 12-team model. That included an allocation of, at the time, half the field for conference champions. The Pac-12 existed. When the Pac-12 changed, one of those was deleted, so now it's the 5 best conference champions. Whether it's 12 or 14 or 16, you're going to have those 5 conference champions. And so there's a bit of a notion about who's come up with 5 this, 5 that. That goes back to the original construct.
Okay.
So that 5 decision's been made. Now, how many more teams are going to be involved? Is it 5 plus 7? Is it 5 plus 9 for 14? Is it 5 plus 11? When we left Destin, our membership said, we think growth to 16 is the right direction. I think that's challenging. So you're asking me personally. I think 12 works. I think last year showed you had 2 teams that had beaten the number 2 team in the country during the regular season, that some growth, 14 or 16, is justifiable. Now, the third component is how do you determine who fills those other spots? And that's where there's divergent opinions. And we've had interest in this automatic bid piece, but really look at it and say we could be sacrificing opportunities. Had we had a 16-team field last year, we would have had 6 participants. You're going to trade 6 for 4. And the answer is, well, we're going to have a play-in, but you're still left with 4, and you have to go through another SEC versus SEC game to access those 4. And that's where things really pivoted for our folks to say, let's look at 16, but let's clarify strength of schedule, let's clarify the selection process so that we understand how important rigor is and we can design schedules appropriately. And that relates to our 8 and 9 game idea as well.
That's the thing that's getting lost, I think, in all of this, is the 14-16 is not the issue. The issue for you is the strength of schedule. That's the problem, right? That's the key to going to 9 games as a conference. That's the key to expanding the playoff, right?
Yeah,
is how the teams are ranked.
We had you may have done it as a media member, the mock selection process. Yeah. I'd never done it before. And in late April, we went through the process, and there were 4 screens, Team A, B, C, and D. And 2 of those screens were ours. One was Tennessee, and one was Alabama. Tennessee's in, so I didn't look a lot. I knew their schedule. I looked at Alabama, and the visual was striking. So Alabama played 8 of its games against teams 6-6 or better. So we'll call those winning records or better. And each of those games is highlighted in green. Now, if you beat Georgia, that's a dark green. That's a really good. If you played a 6-6 team and won, that's a light green. And if you lost, it kind of flips. They're being judged against a team from another conference that played only 4 of their games against 6-6 or better teams. Well, I can tell you, if you want to lose more games, play better teams, right? That's reality.
Right, that's right.
And so how are we going to evaluate that reality? How do you compare a 9-3 team? Yep, he's got a couple more losses versus an 11-1 team, but there's a completely different reality of their schedule. And it's not just wins and losses, because you're going to accumulate that through your schedule. It's the sophisticated analysis of who are you playing, who did they beat, what's the strength of their team. When we're not, basketball has the luxury of 14 non-conference games times 360 teams, and it all intersects. It's much easier than football, where your sample size is smaller. That's why non-conference games are important, and that's why even within a conference, evaluating the rigor of that conference is important.
But how do you get there? That's the question. Well, but what are the metrics that you use?
Well, so that's the question. Well, I've seen an example of a strength of record analysis or enhanced strength of schedule. What I haven't seen is the homework. And how do you get there? What are the components? That's an important question.
Yeah, because...
And by the way, I asked this, so here's the flaw. I don't know how much time we have.
No, you're good. You're good.
We had a strength of schedule presentation where if you played Team 1 and Team 130 in FBS, that averages out to 65.5. If you play Team 65 and 66 in strength of schedule, strength of
65.5,
it averages out to 65.5. You know what my problem is? Most years I don't have a team 65 or worse. Last year Mississippi State was below that. So if you didn't play Mississippi State, you had 8 games in conference that couldn't average out between that 1 and 130. Well, others do have that. So if you look at the trends, and I handed this out in Destin, our league has more top 50 teams year in, year out, year over year than anyone else. You then have some of our autonomy conferences whose average team may not start its best team into the 20s. You have Clemson, who's very high in the ACC over the last, I think it was 10-year analysis,
right.
And then it drops precipitously, and then it trails out. Our tail, not trails out, but our tail, our bottom team, is ending up in that 65 to 70. Then when you look at specific years, we'll end up at like 51, 52, depending on who's rating. These aren't my ratings.
Right.
It's Massey, it's ESPN, it's Sagarin, it's people that do this stuff. And there are going to be differences about that, but you start to accumulate the data, and you're like, holy smoke, something's different there. And how is that treated in its evaluation?
Yeah, and the synopsis of this is the 9-3 SEC team is usually better than the 11-1 team in the other conference. You don't want to say it, but I'll say it. That's really what the problem, right?
I'm contractually prohibited from taking that position,
okay.
But I'm not disagreeing.
Yes, I mean that's the reality.
If you play better teams more often,
the
physicality, using that created term, and the over and over of intensity, you're going to have slips. By comparison. And if you're playing teams with lesser records or not playing the top of a conference, that was true of a team selected on an at-large basis. Tennessee on strength of schedule in our league was towards the bottom, but they couldn't avoid Georgia. They couldn't avoid Alabama. Right. They played a solid Vanderbilt team. They had others on their schedule. It's not like you can go in my league and just go hide and play the bottom 8. Right. That's not the way it works.
So it seems to me, and I might be wrong, it seems to me like the Big Ten's trying to bull you guys into the 4-1-2-3 or whatever.
I'm not going to pick on you. I thought that was an unfair characterization from the beginning. We ought to be able to generate ideas. And what I've said in response is, you know what, we have an interest in that idea. We're interested in that idea. We're not committed to that idea. And I think you have to establish the basis for why is it 4 and not 5? Why is it 4 and not 3? Why is it 2 for them and not 1?
Right.
Why is it 2 for them and not 3? You have to establish a clear rationale. Otherwise, you're picking numbers, and that gets you in trouble. You also have to recognize the Big Ten will have times when if you were at 16, they would, based on historical information, have more than 4. So it's not just about us. And you don't have the depth in the other conferences. So you look from Tennessee's championship, 98? So now we're at 27 years. I think we have 5 different teams win national championships.
Right.
What's happened in other conferences by comparison? So Clemson and Florida State, right?
Michigan and Ohio State.
Texas OU moved.
Texas,
right.
So I think I might be at 7.
You've commandeered
So I
them
may
now,
be an old
right,
number.
right.
So Alabama's won, LSU's won, Tennessee's won, Georgia's won, Auburn's won, Florida's won. I'm at 6.
You're at 6.
Texas has won.
You're at 8.
Half my league has won national championships in the last 27 years.
Right. That's right.
I mean, I say these things and people say, well, Sankey's just promoting his league. Okay, I'm promoting my league, but I'm not wrong.
Well, the Big Ten gets USC, so they got 3 now. Okay?
But it's an accurate number. So.
Yeah, no, I respect that. But there's a depth here. It's like our baseball, right?
Yeah.
I thought our baseball season this year was almost exactly like our basketball season, our men's basketball, from like historic performance. And then we didn't perform. And then the naysayers are like, what did they do? Well, we actually did a lot when you go dig in and see what we did head-to-head during non-conference play. And, what we play ourselves, and then we play games in the middle of the week, right? Yeah. That's what everybody does. We're not avoiding things. We played good, but we didn't perform when it mattered. So I don't know why I got on my baseball riff, but I went to an all-star game.
But that's why you did. The other issue I want to ask you about is not about play, and I appreciate your underscoring kind of where we are in the expansion of playoffs if we have that. The other thing is the College Sports Commission that is supposed to be a clearinghouse of sort for NIL spending. Is that going to work? Do you?
Yeah,
do you
certainly can work.
It can.
The people involved in saying. You go back and find the tape from 2-3 years ago. The number of times we need guardrails around NIL. We need guardrails.
Yeah,
around
that's right.
That's like the word. We need guardrails. We have guardrails.
Yeah.
Now we have a responsibility to make the guardrails work.
Yeah. Because I think, isn't that the big thing? I mean, the portal you're not putting that back in the bottle. It is what it is. I think you guys are going to land at a good place with the expansion from 12 if that happens. In the NIL, the hard one to get your head around?
I think we need to address the transfer issue, not just portal.
That's the biggie.
I don't walk away from. I think we have a responsibility there because I think if one of our principles is tied to the education available on our campuses, the continuity of enrollment is an important piece of actually being educated and graduating. That doesn't mean there are no transfers. We're not going back to the old days.
Right.
I also look at creating a legacy, being part of a community in that educational continuity. And that's being traded for a few pieces of silver, if I could go biblical on you. There's a balance in there. That doesn't mean you just go back to the way it was, but we have to have some common sense standards. We also have to allow teams to have rosters. And I think in football, we don't have a spring portal in the SEC. So if you don't go in January, you're going outside the conference. I think that's created stability. I think that's common sense to say, we want you to go through an academic year at a place. We want you to be part of spring practice preparation. You make your decisions. Hey, if you don't want to be there for spring, go in the portal. You can stay where you are. You could sit out the semester, whatever it is. The notion of having a spring-only portal, to me, just breeds discontent. And there's no way to make up for lost preparatory time in June and July ahead of August that's lost in February, March, April, and for some of us, the first week of May.
All right. We know you got to go. One more thing. We love it here in Atlanta, but quite frankly, Nashville is
good.
Nashville's the place.
Where are we going next year? Do we know?
Nashville's
we
the place.
We don't know. We'll end up back in Nashville. I think Nashville was pleased with us. We were pleased with Nashville. We had a great Broadway concert
it's
on that.
Nashville for crying out loud.
I've been trying on that. It was a 10-year task. That was like a vision around our basketball tournament. And then we got lightning strikes. Had to pull the plug on that.
So we're going to Nashville next year is what you're saying.
I didn't say that. I said we're going to go back to Nashville.
At some point. Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC.
I've played this game before.
I know you have. That's why I was working it.
Thank you for stopping by. We sure appreciate it.
Yep, thanks for the
Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, does such a fantastic job. Lauren, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, gentlemen. Always good to hear from the commissioner. And there's a reason that he stands up for the SEC. Like he said, half of his league is one national championship.
Yeah.
So I understand that there's a power struggle, certainly between these Power 4 conferences with the SEC, the Big Ten kind of joining forces. And then you've got the ACC and the Big 12 who don't want to be left behind. And they also feel like they should be factors in the decisions of how the college football playoff should expand. But at the same time, at some point in time, and I've talked about this before, it annoys me that the 4 groups can't come together with the group of 5 and figure out what's best for the sport itself. Not what's best for one entity or the other, but what's best for the sport itself. Because if we can get through the transfer portal NIL era and come out on the other side with the transfer portal at least being fixed, quote unquote, as far as not having the wild, wild west, we can get through that, and NIL is now taking care of with the pay for play. But yet we have already figured out conference realignment, and we do end up with whether it's a 12, 14, or 16 team playoff. We've landed in a really good spot after so many years of the BCS system, of the 4-team college football playoff that we had for 10 years. Like, if we can now, the 12-team college football playoff last year was amazing.
So much fun.
Yeah.
We all loved it.
For sure.
Yeah, and that's what I saw a quote coming out from Jeff Levy, the Mississippi State head coach, and it said, "I'm for whatever is best for the conference." And I immediately was like, "That's the problem. Like, you're not saying what's best for college football. You're saying what's best for your particular conference." There's a lot of teams outside of the SEC that have to come into consideration. So hopefully at some point that they can start to compromise and figure out what's best for the sport and college football itself.
What's the total teams, though? I mean, because we had 4 conferences of 16 teams, or you can have 2 of 32.
The Big Ten has 20 teams.
Yeah, right. So, like, where you draw the line is, I guess, what I'm at. You know, where's it? Because, whatever that number is, the 1, 2, or 3 after that, it's like, wait a minute, I want in.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't I in?
That's not the issue right now. They have a clear division of FBS and FCS. The issue is they can't agree. The conference commissioners can't agree on the automatic qualifiers for the 12-team, as it stands now, the 12-team college football playoff. And when they talk about expansion to 16 teams, the SEC and Big Ten say, well, we need more teams than the other leagues need. And the other leagues say, why would we allow that? And
How
the
about
SEC
just
and Big
win
Ten
and
say,
get in?
the SEC and Big Ten say, well, because of our strength of schedule and because we've won the last however many national championships, we deserve this. And the other 2 leagues, like I said, the ACC and the Big 12, disagree.
If you're that good, then win the games is their argument. And so it does come, and because there has been the back and forth where they want like the 4 guaranteed for both. Like SEC gets 4 guaranteed teams in, and the Big 10 gets 4 guaranteed teams in. And the argument is that I feel you can't guarantee that every year it's going to look like you deserve that. There's maybe some years where the SEC should get 6 teams in, and the big, so it's hard to go ahead and do that. I don't mind having there's ways that I think it can work out where they get what they want, where they do have their automatic qualifiers no matter what. There's got, however they end up managing it. But I don't think you need 4 and 4 for each of the teams.
No, I think that's going to be tough to fill each and every year, to make sure that happens.
But that's if it expands to 16. Not in the current 12 teams.
I don't know. I like the old days of 1, 2 losses. After 2 losses, like you're done. Like you're not going to have a shot at that national title. Now it does depend when you lose. I've always felt like that because you could drop. Like even back in the day, like they used to punish you big time. Yeah. Even if you took on a big team and you lost, you're like, oh, you lost. Like now you're punished. Like, well, wait a minute, I went 10-0 or 11-0 after that. But you still have the 1 loss. You're like, no, but that was a long time ago. Like, what are you talking about? They got to clean some of that up.
That was the argument with Notre Dame last year because they lost to Northern Illinois early, and then they went on their streak of winning and beating teams very well. And so that was the people that were on Team Notre Dame was like, okay, that was week 2. It was, Riley Leonard is only 2 weeks into the college football career at Notre Dame and all of that stuff. So I do think, and Lauren had probably the best idea when we called it the Lauren, I can't remember what we named it, but her way to do the college football rankings and strength of schedule is involved in it. And I do think strength of schedule should be, but I don't know if you can guarantee a certain number of teams, but add strength of schedule as in some of your rankings by the end of the year.
Yeah, ideally you would shake up the whole conference thing. Because in the first place, you need to have teams from each conference play one another. If you're saying that the SEC is the best conference, but they only play each other and cannibalize each other, then that's not the same as whether it's the Big 10, the ACC, the Big 12. I would say the SEC is better than the ACC, top to bottom. I don't know if the SEC is better than the Big 10, top to bottom. There are years that it has been, and then there are years that it is not. So to me, you almost just have to put all teams that are going to be in power, we'll call it 5 college football, whatever division, Division 1, but you have to put them all together, and then you would just schedule, and then that way you have teams playing across.
Yeah.
And we see that with men's basketball, women's basketball, a lot of non-conference games early in the season. So you have an idea of which conference is the strongest, but you can't do that the way college football is set up, and certainly the travel and things like that, although now we do have like a Florida State traveling all the way to Stanford and Cal. But in theory, they also want that money. The SEC has negotiated a contract with ESPN that has to play teams within the SEC.
Yeah, and that's why it's too much of that because of the conferences. I get they have to look out for themselves to a certain extent because that's what Greg Sankey, that's his job, is to look out for the SEC. So I get on that in that world, but I do think at the end of the day, we're already losing so much of what college football was. You don't want that to keep getting pushed farther and farther.
Yeah, they've done a good job of keeping the rivalries. Can they still do that with, what we're talking about?
See.
You know what I mean? Because you don't want to lose out on that. I don't.
They've kept and preserved a lot of them, but not all.
Not all of them, no,
survived.
for sure.
Like we know that Notre Dame's not going to play USC every single year moving forward.
So
Notre Dame wants
rivalry.
to, USC does not want to.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, in the SEC, you've got the opponents that you'll play every single year. Like Florida will always play Georgia. Florida will always play LSU. Like you've got the pods, and then there's other teams like Florida and Auburn aren't going to play each other every single year. Some people would love to see that, but you're not going to make everyone happy, and I understand that. But obviously, the NFL is a whole different monster, and the way that they do it clearly works for them, but college football can't. There's only 32 NFL teams. College football, you have hundreds of teams. I think it's like I know in men's basketball it's over 300 teams. It might be close to that as well. All right, one other thing before we get out of here, Frank and Matt are hanging out with a player right now is what it looks like on the stream. But one other thing before we get out of here, Brian Thomas Jr. was not in ESPN's top 10 wide receivers. He was honorable mention, but he was honorable mention with Terry McLaurin, Puka Nacua, DK Metcalf, T. Higgins, and Devontae Adams. But he was not in the top 10. Malik Neighbors, his former LSU teammate, was. What say y'all?
Well, I gave Brian Thomas a lot of credit for having two quarterbacks. I think Neighbors had four that threw to him last year. He had a monster year too. I think the stats are pretty comparable. So I can understand. Look, I think he's in good company. I don't know if I totally agree with it because I think Brian Thomas Jr. is one of the best wide receivers in the game today. They put Tyreek Hill at 3.
Yeah. They definitely had some love to just guys that you feel like you had to because it's like, these guys have been in the league and they have been good. I don't know if I would put Tyreek Hill on that list right now of what we've seen recently.
Yeah.
Definitely not top 5.
No.
But career, sure.
Yeah,
career-wise,
but if we're talking about right now at this point in time or what
Right.
we're expecting for this season, I don't think I would.
Yeah, we can certainly talk about that more tomorrow, but that'll do it for us today. For Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, for Tom McManus, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow, but of course, don't go anywhere. The Frangie Show live from Atlanta for SEC Media Days is next right here on 1010XL 92.5 FM.